Hi. In this video, I'm going to talk about this topic, which is how much finance is used in quantitative finance. So, if you are planning to work in the field of quant finance, if you are an aspiring quant, how much finance you should know in order to work in quant finance. But more importantly, how much finance you should know in order to crack the quant finance interviews, right? So that's very important thing to know. I think many people have this misconception that you don't need to know any finance in order to work in quant finance, as long as you're fine with coding and you have enough knowledge of mathematics. I think you should be able to, clear quant finance interviews. You don't need to know any finance. That's not necessarily true. In some cases, yes, that's fine. I mean, some hiring managers don't care about your knowledge of finance, but in many places, you will get questions from core finance in quant finance interviews. And I'm going to discuss about which areas to focus and right. But before that, let's a brief recap of who is a quant, what is quant finance. I think quant finance can be loosely defined as people who use mathematics coding to solve problem in finance. And the work people who work in quant finance, they're known as quants. They work at banks, insurance firms, fintechs, various private funds like pension funds, sovereign wealth funds, and so on. Sovereign wealth fund is not a private firm, but various trading firms, wealth management firm, asset management firms, and so on and so forth, right? So you have quants nowadays in almost all financial organizations, whether it's banks, insurance companies, or investment companies. You have quantitative people working there solving problems, right? So question is, do quants need to learn any finance? Right, it depends where you work, but the short answer is yes, they need to know some finance, except maybe the ones who work in trading firms, where all that matters is how much money you're making for the trading firm. In other places, if you work in as a quant in big banks, retail banks, commercial banks, or insurance companies, or even asset management company, you need to have a fair bit of understanding of core finance, right? I know some high frequency trading firms that really don't check whether you have any knowledge of finance or not, right? As long as you are good with coding and you are a smart guy, you know mathematics, they're fine with this, right? But in other places, knowledge of core finance is very important, right? If you work at a fintech company, you work at an insurance firm, or at a bank, you need to know the finance theory. You should have knowledge of some finance, right? Now, how much is needed, right? The more, the better. If you know more finance, it's always good. Therefore, many quants, they write FRM exam, CFA, just to learn finance, right? These exams don't teach you quant. You don't not much of quant you learn in these programs. But many quants do write these certification exams because they really want to learn some core finance, because a lot of the quants this come from non-finance background. They have a background in physics or mathematics or computer science or engineering, economics, with no knowledge of finance, and therefore they want to write FRM and CFA, and that's a good thing in my view. Although it's not a prerequisite that you have the certifications to work in finance, in quant finance, but it's nothing wrong. In fact, it's good to have these certifications. Or else, if you don't have the certifications, then you at least learn on your own, or do some relevant other certification in the field of finance to gain knowledge, right? But more is the better. And most good quants I personally have come across are good in finance in general. The ones who are really good quants are not necessarily just the math nerds who know only mathematics or coding, nothing about finance. I think they are not the greatest of the quants. The finest of the quants know a hell lot of about finance, the financial products, the markets, the market microstructure. They have good understanding of the economy, macroeconomy, and so on. right? And there were times when if you had a PhD in some quantitative area, math, physics, computer science, those areas, nobody really cares about how much you know finance. People would go ahead with in hiring you, right? So those days are gone actually, right? Nowadays, people are a bit more selective, that it's not just the mathematical stuff that matters. You also have to have good understanding of the business, right? The business of lending, or business of trading, business of insuring, right? And in order to know about that, you need to know core finance, right? How much of that is a question mark? Like, do you have to be like expert? No, you don't have to be an expert, but the more you know, the better it is. I'll talk about which areas of finance you must learn if you want to work in quant finance, right? And if for someone who is a fresher, right, fresh out of university, and you want to work in a quant firm, you want to work at an investment bank or a corporate bank or retail bank, or you want to work with some insurance company as a quant, what topics from core finance you should learn, right? You should learn some corporate finance, some risk management stuff. You should fair bit of understanding of macroeconomics. Should not some accounting. You don't have to be an expert in accounting. Have good understanding of market microstructure, especially if you're working in market side. Knowledge of behavioral finance goes a long way. If you have good understanding of banking, that really helps if you work as a quant in banks. In fact, I would say if you work as a quant in banks, I think read more and more about banking, right? This is one issue I have seen with the quants, the aspiring quants who want to work in quantitative finance, that they come for jobs in credit modeling or market risk modeling without even doing some research about what these terms are all about. Many of them haven't even read about the Wikipedia articles of these terms. That's very short. So you really need to know about some banking in the products, regulations, the risk types, and so on, right? You need to know some regulation in various countries at global level, but also at local level. What are the regulations for different financial instruments? Regulations can be for trading products also, but for lending products, right? So no matter where you work, NBFC, pension fund, insurance company, you will come across some regulation, right? So what are these regulations, right? Which topics are important, right? And these are my views, but you could also expand this to more of the topics. Portfolio management, right? Portfolio theory. Know a bit about that. Learn a bit about valuation techniques. The basics. Watch some videos on Aswad Damodaran's YouTube channel. Corporate governance, right? Again, if you study a bit of corporate finance, you can learn a bit about corporate governance and why that matters. Some accounting rules for profit and loss calculation. Understand balance sheet, how to interpret a balance sheet. Learn about different regulations in the various areas. If you are working for European banks, learn about the regulations from ECB. If you are working for US banks, learn regulations about Fed. If you are working on the security side, learn regulations of SEC, learn regulations of other security regulatory bodies in different countries. If you're working in whatever country you're working in, right? Learn some accounting rules of IFRS 9, IFRS in general, IFRS 9 obviously on the risk side. Learn some Basel rule if you're working for banks. You have the regulatory policies as part of Basel Accord. Just learn a bit about Basel 1, Basel 2, Basel 3, and Basel 4. Knowledge of banking and trading products. This is perhaps the most important thing, right? If you're going to working as a quant, you will be working with trading products or banking products. So always know more and more about the banking products, right? You have retail products, you have corporate wholesale products, you have SME products, right? You have different type of products such as it could be as basic as what is the difference between a revolving loan and non-revolving loan, right? Simple question, but many people probably haven't heard about what is a revolving loan. Revolving loan or revolving credit, right? So have the understanding of that, because when you build models for a revolving credit facility, it will be different compared to it's a non-revolving credit facility. Learn difference between securitized loan, non-securitized loan, or secured loan, non-secured loan, right? So have understanding of all of this. How to learn, right? So the best way to learn is through a course. If you do a course, structured course, that's better, right? And if you actually go for a CFA, FRM, that's even better. The problem is that not everybody has time to do the certification. These certifications do take time, couple of years. But if you really want to quickly learn something, it's good to do some courses, short courses. Don't go into the depth of everything. It's definitely can be self-taught, by the way. If you can read books, watch videos, and read some blogs, you can certainly learn these things. But if you really want to learn in more structured way, it's good to do an online course. Okay. Okay, don't go into depth. Focus on the basics. And what matters is how much you know about different things, right? Rather than how big an expert you are in one thing, right? For beginners, what I advise is that don't try to be an expert, rather than cover as much as possible when you read about these non-quantitative stuffs. Okay, learn more about the regulations, the products, the markets, and so on, right? You should be able to carry a conversation, right? Otherwise, if you have no knowledge about some of the jargons used in the field of finance, you will feel stupid actually when you work there, right? So quant finance is more than just math and coding. Okay, you need to know some finance. Even though you're from a non-finance background, I advise you to know. It's not a prerequisite to have qualification in finance in order to work in quant finance, but people will expect you to have some knowledge of finance, right? Just wanted to tell you that if you really want to learn quant finance in a more structured way, I have a certification program. It's a certification in quant finance and risk modeling. You'll be learning the basics of mathematics and statistic used in the field of finance. You'll be learning about asset pricing, risk modeling, credit risk modeling, market risk modeling. You'll be learning about quantitative trading and investment. And beside that, you'll also be learning about corporate finance, risk management, macroeconomics. You'll also be learning a bit about Python programming used in the field of quant finance. So if you really want to learn quantitative finance in a very structured way, do reach out to me. I have a certification program which can be finished in 3 to 4 months time. If you're working part-time or if you are a student, you can always learn on the site. Let me know. I will share with you the brochure. If you just drop me a message on my WhatsApp or just write an email to me. All right. Thanks for watching and see you next time.